I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We're the CRM Players. You ought to know that by now.
Isn't that a song? You ought to know that by now. Shows you why I
I
don't
believe
sing.
that's a song, but you
I don't believe that
sound
I was screwing
slightly
with.
different than Alanis Morissette.
Yes, and not meaning as much as I don't like her as an artist, she still sings way better than me.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I just got a notification saying Brent Leary is live for CRM Players. All right.
Oh, well, maybe we should log off so we can watch.
Wait a minute. But are we really live? Because something hasn't happened yet.
Oh my God, really? He
Something slash someone has not made their presence felt.
he's missing.
This is
You
two
know,
weeks in a row. This is kind of,
if my thought is if he doesn't show up soon, like in the next 10 minutes, we hire a detective immediately.
I don't know. We may have to put him on double secret probation at some point, until he
Double
gets his act
secret
together.
probation. Double secret probation. Now that's almost frightening. Does that mean we lock him in a dungeon so that he can be on time?
We better move on. We don't have to get into any dungeon
That's right.
locking talk. Anyway,
Torquemada would be our special guest.
Your boy Torquemada,
Yeah,
Tomas.
that's right. He'll be our special guest on
Nope,
methods of torture in 15th or 16th century Spain.
I don't know. I feel a cough coming on. I might have to skip that one. We'll see. All right. Anyway, we do have a full show. Full show ahead. Two guests. Count them. One, two guests.
Uh, so wait, is that how you count? 1, 2, guest 4?
That's how they do it on. Did I do four? I thought I did one.
No, you said 1, 2, guest. Like guest was the third number.
Oh, no. Just two
Oh.
guests. Two good guests.
1, 2.
One like
guest.
kind of a quick guest, but it's an important quick guest. It's like a cameo. It's like a short cameo appearance with some news, with a little preview of something coming up in the near future that the CRM
Cool.
players are involved in.
QO. KWL, that is.
Yeah, I kind of got that. Kate, I hadn't seen that in a while. Heard that one in a while, but okay. So we'll do that in a couple of minutes. And then after that, we have our buddy, has been on the show a while. He's just coming off an event that his organization put together, the Ambient Experience
Summit.
Yeah, I'm make sure I got that right. So we're gonna get some insight from Ray Wang. Is he still on location or is he back home? He's always
He's probably
on location.
still on location. He's probably
He's
still
always
in New York.
on location.
Well,
It's more of a surprise when he's home, actually.
home is now just another location.
Really? Okay. So we'll bring him on. We'll talk about AXS, and we just start throwing out topics and stuff with him because he can pretty much answer anything on anything that's going on. But before we do any of that, we got to do one thing. Well, we got to do a couple things. Let me do this.
Okay.
Though. We got to say happy birthday to Dennis Pombrant.
Oh my God. He's 33 today. And handsome as ever. Right? Dennis is just this good-looking guy that is also this sort of brilliant analyst too. And he just sort of is timeless about his age. So I think
He's timeless about his age.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's so weird.
That's kind of...
So every day it has to be his birthday, and every year is the same year. So I locked him in at about 33, and that's where it stopped. But happy birthday, Mr. Pombriant. That is awesome.
I know what he's probably rooting for or wanting for his birthday. Celtics win, maybe.
I know what he's getting for his birthday on the weekend, but I can't tell. I'm not allowed to tell. Well, I don't know if it's really for his birthday, but it's sort of getting it around the same time. So Kind of is. It has to do. One thing I will tell you, it has to do with a car, and Ray would be very happy about it.
I'd be happy about it too if it had to do with the car and I was getting it. Look who's showing up.
There he is. My God, man, we were about ready to send a detective looking for you.
I even know what language this is.
Yeah, that one's easy. I think he was in a hurry, so he just came up with one he's used already. But we know this one, unless it's he could claim it's a
What,
dialect,
Portuguese?
like a dialect of Spanish, like Catalan or Basque, or which is sort of French Spanish, or something from a different province. Like the same way we would say, well, yeah, that's English, but it's kind of Southern English, or that's English, but that's kind of Western, like Northwestern English, or that's English, but
Wait a
it's New
minute.
York or
Why I got to
Boston.
bring your college into this?
Well, because I'm a diehard alumnus who
All right.
contributes literally nothing to them.
You know him, Paul.
Yeah, meaning he had to get something quick.
There it
It's
is.
okay, Sven. As long as you're here, we're happy. That's the main thing. You are important to this show.
As long as you refrain from any Rams or blueberry jokes, we'll be good to go. All right.
That's right. Well, they
So
won't come up on the screen.
Before we bring on our guests, we do want to highlight something and ask you to participate in something, which would be our watch party.
Might want to
Hopefully,
take
no
down
technical difficulties this time around.
take down the second logo in the corner so people can see the word watch party, because that's such a cool
It is.
visual. Well, in its own way. There you go.
All right. So we are getting ready for the Salesforce Connections Keynote Watch Party next Tuesday, 12:45 p.m. Eastern. Should be good. Hopefully.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, this will be fun too, because these kind of conferences are always, meaning Connections itself tends to be a very lively conference, and it'll be a lot of good. The speeches will be interesting and easy to comment on, and we're still working on what? We're still working on the Salesforce spokesperson, or do we have that yet?
No, we don't. But word has it that we will not just have one, but we may have two. Remember,
Wow.
2 guests.
So we're gonna have 3.
No,
I'm not very good with numbers.
Yeah, apparently not. I should introduce you to Kraftwerk. They had an album called Numbers.
Oh, then I'll listen to it then, and then I'll be good with numbers.
There it is. Okay,
That works.
so
And
yeah,
the other thing, we will have some analysts potentially too. We're working on those.
maybe we'll even have some that are on location. Who knows? We'll see.
That's right. We're working on
Speaking
it.
of on location, see how I did that nice segue?
It was beautiful.
So we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. We're going to finally get back on the road, go to an event, participate in an event. It's coming up Tuesday, September. Wow, I really jumped ahead.
We'll work on reading for you and numbers for me.
Tuesday, June 13th to the 16th, it's Verint Engage. And we'll be there. We'll be doing some special things there. And guest who will be kind of our host of sorts there. The one and only, there she is, Celia Fleischaker.
Hey, Celia.
Hey, how are you all? Nice to be here.
Well, I mean, we're going to actually get to see you in person soon.
I'm so excited. Yeah, thank you all.
You know what? You guys, your conference will be the first live conference that Brent and I participate in since COVID started. I mean, I was at CCE for a little while,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about like vendor conference, and we're excited.
I can't wait. For me, it's my first big Verint event, and get to meet people face to face and see our customers and you guys. And we're really thrilled to be bringing people together.
So what's kind of the theme this year?
Well, our theme is better together. So we were
Oh,
fingers
whoa.
crossed it was live. So just about, getting together, working with our customers over a couple of days. We've got people coming in June 13th through the 16th. And they'll hear from, we've got, I think, 30 or 40% of our speakers, our sessions are customer led. So it's all about
Wow.
hearing from peers about what they've been doing, how they're approaching customer engagement.
So how many people are you expecting to appear live, show up live?
Over 1,000 we'll have.
Whoa.
So pretty good turnout. We're excited. It's we've been hearing conferences are a little down from an attendance, as you'd expect,
Wow,
but we're pretty pleased to bring that many together.
That's a pretty good number, actually, a really good number.
Yeah.
So people can attend virtually, though, right?
We will have most of the sessions available online after the fact, but we're largely live for the days during the event. So we're not doing full hybrid.
Who are some of the keynotes?
Well, all right. So I'm super excited. Our guest keynote is Jose Andres.
I know. Oh my God. You got to realize, like, you have put me in heaven with that one. I love that man. I love his restaurants. I love everything about him. He's one of the great humanitarians on this planet. He's a
amazing.
Brilliant chef.
Yeah, we feel so lucky to have him. Exactly. The work he's been doing, especially Ukraine for one, but so many other places. And shout out to, it was one of our event staffers, Ashley, who way back when we were starting to plan this thing, she's like, hey, I think this guy would be really good. And now, I'm so excited. I'm with you, like being in the room with him, hearing from him directly, such a great human person, I'm excited. And then of course, you'll hear from, Dan Bodner, our CEO, who's going to sit down with you all for a conversation. I'm excited about that.
Me too.
Yeah. Alon, our president, a number of our execs will be there, and I'm speaking with customers. So we're really thrilled.
Well, I think this is going to be a very fascinating conference. The other thing is this is the first conference since you went strictly engagement, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the first live one was
live one.
Pure customer engagement focus, and it'll be good.
Oh, so excited!
I'm going to pop this back up because yes, we are looking forward to speaking with Don. I do.
Dan. No,
Dan. It's Dan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it spelled
wrong. We've already established you have trouble with words, Brent. So.
No, that's all right. Brent's on the reading side. I have to learn numbers.
Sorry.
I need numbers.
It's really messed up. There's a question that we ask all our guests. And do you know if Dan is a pro football guy?
He's from the New York area.
Right.
Okay.
I'm
very
guessing
promising.
he is, but gosh,
very promising.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I'll have him ready for that question.
Yeah, because we're going to be like face to face with him. It would be really awkward if he said the wrong thing and we just have to cut him off at that point.
I will literally go over and I'll have to literally go over and take the mic off his lapel if that happens.
Wow.
So we will not do that. I'm sure
if he's from New York, I think it's pretty promising he'll be okay.
I think he'll be good. I feel like
do too.
He's been there for a while. So
we're looking forward to it.
And I should say too, Ray's going to be at our event. I feel like I'm the warm-up act for him right now, but he's going to be on stage with us and speaking to a lot of the executive attendees. Excited to have him.
Well, actually, it was interesting, even though it's coincidental. That's how I met you. If you remember, Ray introduced me to you.
I do remember.
Right? Yeah. So
I remember sitting at dinner when Ray started talking about you. Yeah, in Austin.
Yeah. Which I mean, that was actually coincidental that it worked out this way, but we have all kinds of segues today.
I know. That was kind of perfect.
It's one of the better
Yeah.
shows, man, where everything makes sense. Normally that just doesn't
That's
happen.
always a bonus, right?
Yeah, for us, it's definitely a bonus that anything makes sense, much less everything.
So,
Oh,
one last time, just kind of give the pitch. Although there's already 1,000 people, what should people look out for when they get there and be a part of this whole experience?
yeah, I think a few things. One that, like I talked about, having so many top brands, Priceline, Instacart, big companies talking about what they're doing with customer engagement is going to be really exciting. So learning from peers. And of course, we'll have the Verint speakers there too, but I think the peer to peer is always really nice and interesting. We're talking a lot about the change that's happened with customer engagement and the goodness that, I mean, it's not all bad that came out of the shift to digital and what's going on. And then of course we'll talk challenges too, because man, the resignations, retention rates have been difficult, and strategies for working through that. I'm just excited to be together, to talk and network with people over those couple of days.
All right. That is
All
wonderful.
right. Great
So
to
I
see
guess,
you all.
and we will see you in 2
Trying to
weeks.
get the right
A
one.
little
up here.
less.
There it is.
There you go. Perfect.
There you go.
There it is.
Less than 2 weeks. We'll see you in
And
We're
11
looking
days.
forward to it.
Sounds
And this
good.
is-
Right. Here's a
And
virtual
we'll be-
hug in anticipation of the real one.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we'll be doing 3
3 shows.
episodes, and you'll be a part of, I think, the last one we did,
The third
Yeah,
the
yeah.
third one. So
Yeah.
we'll be looking forward to that.
can't wait. Tell Ray I said hi.
one.
All
I was
right.
going to say maybe you could tell him himself, but he isn't here just yet. So we'll
He
tell him for
isn't.
you.
I will be sending him a note right now since he needs to be here.
Okay. See ya.
Good to see you. Take care, guys.
Bye.
I'm looking forward to getting out.
Okay, hold
Being
on. I'm
amongst the
sending
people.
Ray a note.
Well,
Okay.
he's still got a few minutes. We'll
All
see.
right. I just told him he said he was coming back from some sort of bio signing. I'm not sure what that is. Should be in this hotel in
bio
10. That
signing?
was it. Yeah. I'm not sure what a bio signing is. I think Monday meant a book signing. But he said he should be in his hotel room in 10, and that was at 3:05. So he meant 10 minutes, I assume, not 10 o'clock.
Interesting. Okay.
So we should see
I
him
am-
shortly.
I am really looking forward to getting out, getting to engage, seeing some folks.
Me too. It's long, and I mean, look, the pandemic's still around. Got to be cautious, but
Very much. Yep.
it's just nice to see people in person. It really is.
Better
I
together.
know.
I like that.
We are too, Lisa.
Yep.
We really are. Lisa's another one of those amazing Verint folks.
1,000 people. That's pretty nice size.
Yeah, it's a good number. It's also not. It's sort of it's sort of like if you're going to go somewhat large, it's sort of an optimal number now. You get 10, 15,000 people.
Good old Bob.
Wait till your own show comes, man.
Oh boy.
You are something else. I think so. I want to say 1,000 is a good number of
Yeah.
people showing up. So I like that. It's just enough to make me relatively comfortable.
I'm going to put Bob back on for a second because you know who the Rams are opening the NFL season up against this year, right?
The Bills.
It's the
I saw.
Rams versus the Bills. First game of the year.
Where is it at? SoFi or
I
where?
think it's in LA.
Okay. Wow. That is going to be epic, actually.
Well, it will only be epic if Aaron Donald does not retire.
That's right. I saw that.
Please don't retire, Aaron. Please.
Do me a favor and don't retire, or else I'm going to have to console Brent for a whole year until you win the Super Bowl again.
Oh my God. Don't say that because It took 22 years between the last one.
Look at the
What?
wow. I think that's true. I believe him. Bet he does have those tickets. So he's going to fly from Europe to LA for the game.
Wait a minute. He didn't get me one? Come on. Come on, Bob. What's up with that?
Yeah.
Yep,
see,
it's a good number, Lisa.
I am so with you on that, Lisa. It really is. It's a number of people to keep it exciting and interesting. And at the same time, there'll be a decent sprinkling of people we know. And at the same time, it's not escalating the toxicity of, COVID too much. Right. So we'll be okay.
Well,
that's the deal.
I'm still, glad to be going, be keeping my distance, wearing the mask and all that. But I'm looking forward to it. It's been way too long.
So Ray not here yet. We can riff all we want. He'll get there eventually.
I'm just going to pop this up because I am on a roll with these promo images. Look at that.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. Where'd you get that one?
I just do a search.
Well, it looks like his college graduation picture.
Yeah, I had another one. Let's see, do I have the other one? Because that one's a little old. Maybe still a nice pic. Let me see. Is the other one here? Nah, I guess I got carried away with that one. All right, now he's in the green room.
Okay.
So, as I usually do at this point, I turn it over to the venerable Paul Greenberg to introduce today's guest.
Well, you know what? I'm sure everyone's kind of figured out who it is by this time since we mentioned his name about 45 times. So I will just I won't even say his name. I'll just merely outline some things. He's easily one of the most influential people in the business world, on the analyst side. He does not just industry analyst work, but some financial analyst work now. You've probably seen, if you haven't seen him on CNBC, if you haven't seen him on Fox News, then chances are you don't watch either of them. Otherwise, you will have seen him. Right. Because he
don't leave out Fox Business. I think he's been on Fox
Business News.
There it is.
Of course. Right. Because Ray is frequently called to comment on the markets and especially around obviously the tech markets. I met him many, many years ago when he was still at Forrester and he was deciding to leave, and he contacted me and said, "Hey, you're an independent. Can we talk about going independent?" I was at the E2O conference in Boston. I was doing a late night thing with you and Michael Thomas, if you remember.
The rock stars of social CRM.
Rock stars of social CRM. It was that day. I said, "Well, that's going on till like 10:30." And not knowing Ray well at that point, he goes, "Well, that's fine." And I was thinking, "Oh, he's willing to stay up late." I didn't realize that's
where you first met him.
Yeah, was first physically met him.
Wow. Okay.
I'd seen him around at SAP and Sapphires and things like that, and just nodded head and stuff like that. But first time I really talked to him, and we talked. I didn't realize that that's 7 a.m. to Ray when it's 10 p.m. Right, so we talked till 5 a.m. And then we walked back to our hotels. Ever since then, it's been a fast friendship. He created Constellation Research, became very prominent very quickly as a leading both analyst and market research firm in the industry. And I love the guy. So let's just bring him on, man. Let's bring this.
Well,
man
why
on.
not? After all that, here he is.
Yeah. Hi. You can have your radio voice today.
Yeah, I got that going. How you doing?
Great. So, that's your hotel, huh?
Yeah, I'm here in New York City today. So, we just
did it end, or is it still going on?
It ended last night. So
that's what I thought. So,
did you cut it up? Did you get on the turntables any?
I can't do that without you, Brent. You're my partner in crime. So
look at that. Perfect timing. Look at that.
Amazing. Look at that.
The old days. That's now the good old days, if you can imagine that. That's ridiculous.
Pre-COVID.
That's why-
That's
I
truly
know.
pre-COVID.
The good old days. That's what they are now. COVID has added 100 years to the normal span of years in terms of good old days designations. So you had a conference, AXS Summit 2022. Can you explain what that stands for? What happened? Why you even have this summit? What's the purpose? Tell us a little bit about the lineup. Kind of just lay it out there.
Yeah, so the Ambient Experience Summit is really about bringing together analytics, automation, AI, the future of work, employee experience, customer experience, commerce, and really bringing together professionals who are in this space that are thinking about what's next, what's going to happen. And as you know, ambient experiences are things that they just happen in the background. And the reason they happen in the background is because, they're listening, they're managing, they're taking your consent, they're understanding what you want to do next. Right, and it's really about what that future of experience design. And so Liz and Diane ran the conference. Topics included anything from getting a team of rivals in the same group together, talking about stakeholder voice, what was happening. We had a great keynote from Chris Hummel about revenue operations. We talked a little bit of the metaverse economy, something I usually jump into. We talked about where the future of CX is going to happen, and we talked about why customers and employees care about ESG. And
Hey,
we
Ray,
also
we're
had
getting a lot of static all of a sudden.
Oh my God. Okay. I know what to do.
Seems to be
Give me a
coming
second
from
here.
you.
Yeah, it's coming from you. Not sure where.
Let me see. I will do something.
You want to drop out
Here.
and drop back
Nope.
in?
Nope. Here.
Now we don't hear anything.
It should be better now. How's that?
Yeah, it was
Way,
great.
way better. Way better. Oh,
It's called
we're
AirPod. Is that better now?
Getting a little echo version.
we're hearing us echoing on your speakers.
How's that now?
Say, let's see. Good. Good. Perfect.
All right. How's
No,
this?
not good. No.
Now it's
back.
back.
Came back.
Oh, it's back.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Let's see.
Say something.
Yeah.
Andy. Just
Yeah.
Is that better?
Nope. Came back again.
Let's see what
It
else.
sounds like for a second it's better, and then it happens again.
Let's try.
we didn't hear anything then.
Do you hear
Yeah,
anything?
your voice is good.
Is it better?
No,
Is it
your
better?
voice. Brent, you say something.
It sounds better.
Yep.
All right, no echo.
No
No
echo?
echo.
No
Okay.
echo? No
No.
echo? All right.
Ha 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 ha. Go ahead. Follow. Keep going, dude.
Yeah, so one of the interesting things that was going on at the conference is, we were talking about the voice of the customer, what was happening. We had an interesting, keynote case study, what was going on at Novant Health and what they're doing in metaverse and AR and VR. We put people through some fun workshops. They're talking about what they were going to do next. And then, we took an industry like healthcare, talked about the patient experience from different points of view. And then, of course, we had keynotes from Chris Hummel, keynotes from Soon Yu, talking about friction, how you do, actually embrace and put good friction into place. We also talk about complexity and managing that across the board. And then we get a fireside chat with Doug Hansen, who's at Wipro, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, we had another keynote from Elena Varelin, if you know her. She was at Sesame Workshop and doing some really cool stuff. And then, of course, there was a mini CRTV live show that was up there. And then we talked about employee experience in the age of the great refactoring. And then we ended it with a panel on risk takers and rule breakers, which was pretty cool with Brad Gillespie, Jonathan Feldman, Marty Kine. And then we took everyone to their awards banquet at the Harvard Club. So,
Oh, playing on your history now there. So what? Okay, given, I mean, your conferences, CCE included, both of these conferences tend to be very, they're practical, but they're very visionary. Meaning they're not only looking at here's the state of the situation, state of whatever, but here is also the cutting edge and where it's going and which ones are possibly going to last, which ones are less likely, but still, have some legs and so on and so forth. So if you had to draw a gigantic conclusion on in two parts here, on the CX side of this, and then the second one will be on the future of work and employee engagement side. What are the conclusions you draw on CX first, and then future work, employee engagement second.
I think the main thing about customer experience is that it's getting more digitized, right? And because it's getting more digitized, we have to do a better job of humanizing those experiences. And that means authenticity is important, transparency is important. And part of that is because we're starting to move from centralized models to decentralized models. So I think that's probably the first theme. The second theme is a little bit different. And that second theme is really the fact that we're in the middle of what we call great refactoring. And that's really around where you work, when you work, why you work. Business models are changing. We went from digital channels, oh, that's really cool, look, shiny object, to, oh, shoot, I need a digital business model, to, oh, wait, this thing actually has to make money, to digital monetization. And so that's kind of changing the way we operate. And because we've got a labor shortage, I mean, 11.6 million jobs are out there, 4.4 million people unemployed, and a massive skills mismatch that's going on. We're seeing a lot of automation, right? I mean, we're hearing about how people are doing kiosks in one of the healthcare organizations, non-patient care activities. They have 5'9" robots moving like beds around the hospital or picking up items, putting them off, right? I mean, so you're starting to see things like that. And our challenge really is like, will humans win in a digital world, right? And I think the answer in that room was yes, right? We've gone through a really big, painful 2 years. And when you go through that much trauma, usually some kind of innovation emerges. People become tougher. They come up with new ideas. They try something different. It sticks, I mean, like, you've got everybody learning how to use a QR code to find a menu, right? I mean, what else can we do with QR codes, right? So you see that everywhere, right? And so all these little things are starting to add up, and it's kind of changing our behaviors. But the most important thing about customer experience is it's still got to be authentic. It's got to be at human scale, not machine scale. And more importantly, it's got to be about protecting the individual, not the system, right? And we're starting to see those kind of design points get clarified. So that's the CX side. The employee experience side is a little bit different. The employee experience right now is, and I'm probably going to say something that's going to be very offensive to lots of folks, but I'm just going to say it. We're coddling folks. We're coddling a lot of folks, right? We're paying them too much. We're, going through all their needs, right? We're saying, here's all the things we're going to do. And we can do that right now because scarce skills are hot. Right. But as a system and in the whole, right, there are certain things. You saw Elon Musk said, hey, all you folks need to show up to work. If you don't show up to work by this date, I assume you've resigned. Right. That's probably the other end of the extreme. Right. But when you do go to work, it better be meaningful. Right. I mean, you just took 2 hours of your time on a commute. Let's make that useful. Right. So if you're going to come into work, it better be to celebrate a project. It'd be about a presentation. It's about, an innovation session where you're getting people and design ideas, and then send everybody home. Right. So they can get real work done. Right. But it's making sure that you build those things in place. But I also hear a lot of concerns about younger workers who don't have the networks, who don't have the mentorship, who don't have the ability to watch and observe and pick up those skills. And so you're going to see a lot more return to work, and flexible options collide, and people are going to start choosing the places they want to work based on those patterns, right? And I think we'll see the trade-offs. Like, people have great networks, they don't care, right? People who don't have networks might want to congregate a little bit more. If you're younger, you want to be paired up with an older worker so it all gets together. So I think those are the things that we're going to see in this type of experience. And employee experiences, right? I mean, the bottom line and the connection point between employees and CX and customers was really, if your employees are pissed, you're not going to have really good customer experience. So let's get that right.
So just yesterday during what do we call that thing again?
The even more joyous hour.
Yeah, I know it's not just happy hour.
That's our happy hour. We were
Even
happy
more
hour year one. Happy hour year one, happier hour year two, and even more joyous hour year three. We've done 107 of them.
Wow.
That thing. So yesterday, I brought up the Elon Musk thing with the edict, as I like to call it. And I asked everybody on the happy hour, if your boss threw that email to you, what would you do? Or what would you go for it? Would you stay? Would you leave? And the majority, pretty much a significant majority, said they'd be out of there. Or if they had to make the choice, they would choose go somewhere else. Do you think that eventually he is going to back off of that? or do you think he just doesn't care? He's going to put it out there, and you're either going to leave or you're going to go.
I think it's this screening mechanism. And I think that's back to my point where we've been coddling employees for a long time. If you're operating at his speed and scale and you need that level of innovation, I would say you better be in the office, right? Because what you're trying to do is build product at breakneck speed. Everybody better be in the room, right? And
let me ask you something about that, because you remember prior to COVID, there was a policy that a lot of, at least the tech companies were implementing, and other companies, but most, I'd say more in tech than anywhere else, which was, we don't care when you get the work done or how you get it done, but you have to get it done. And they didn't care about hours, they didn't care about days, they didn't care about time, they didn't care about what location you were in, but the work basically, you have these things to do, get them done. And that was pretty much how it was determined. And the be in the office part and those things weren't even. I know this was not a very small, tiny amount of companies implementing. There were a fair. I mean, don't want to say it was the majority, but I would say there's a significant minority were implementing policies like that. What about those carrying forward?
So we have to break it down by roles and job description. And I think that's the easiest way. Do you want your salespeople in the same room? Probably not. I think if they want them out in the field doing some work. Do your accountants need to show up to work? They could probably do everything at home so long we can verify that they're the people that are behind the machines. That should probably be okay. So I definitely see that. But if you're in product design and product development, almost every person I talked to said this is like so inefficient. So the first time they got everybody together in a room safely, they were like, holy crap, what took us 6 weeks can be done in 6 days, right? There's so much friction when you're building something, when you're innovating, right? And to add communications and a time delay, that's really tough.
Yeah,
that's really tough, especially you operating at Tesla scale. Now, if you're like, I'll pick on some other large cloud company and you're kind of taking your time building software and you don't have an urgency to go do so, that's fine. You want to go do that? That's fine. I mean, you want to be the lifestyle company, you can be the lifestyle company, right? But if you want to get crap out the door, no, it's just too hard to do that. Now, if your marketing people are in the office all the time, that's probably okay. Like when you got something to show, bring them in, right? When when you got a release where you need the legal team to come in on a sprint, yeah, they could probably do that remote and be okay. So I think by roles, you're going to see that. But when you're in companies that are building products and services at breakneck speed and innovation, you better show up to work. I mean, otherwise, you can't do that. Or if you're trying to train that next generation, I really feel bad. Like I'm thinking about like salespeople who were hired in the first sales job, right, in the middle of the pandemic. What do you think they sold? Nothing. They don't have a network. They didn't press the flash. They weren't out on events. They didn't have anyone to mentor them and take them around and say, here's how we do it. Right. So we're losing that. We're kind of cheating the youth by not having everybody in one spot. And that I can see the other argument. Now, of course, there's some folks like developers like, I'm never going to show up. Right. I can work from home and do that. Yeah, you probably could. If you're seasoned, you've got a reputation, you're good at a couple skills that no one else has. And, you're a COBOL developer. Yeah, you'll live at home. Nobody cares. You'll still make your 400,000 a year. Right. So that's okay. So, but I think
what about
go ahead.
The way that he did it? It didn't feel like the modern employee giving them some input, asking them, do you think you'll be able to work better this way? It felt like coming down when
it's old school.
CEO just saying this. Do you think old school works, generally speaking, in this environment versus when you just talked about the employee experience? I would assume that it would be a better experience from the employee's perspective if they felt at least that they had some input into this big decision versus, man, this guy is just throwing it down like a gauntlet.
I don't know. And I look at it from multiple angles. The Silicon Valley answer would be like, oh my God, the employees didn't have any input into the experience and they're all going to leave because, they feel like they don't have a voice. But the flip side is like what they're doing at Tesla or SpaceX or any one of those companies. I mean, those are all moonshots. There's some significant stuff going over there. And the employees that go there are self-selected, right? I mean, I would say that he probably represents a good portion of the company's mentality. Like, hey, guys, we got to get this stuff done. We can't be all over the place, right? The way it's presented that, it's just an email that went out. and that was it. I think probably was a little harsh. I don't think it actually happened that way. I'm sure like they talked to the managers and said, hey, what do you think? Most people are going to be that way. Fine. If we lose the few folks that don't want to show up to work, fine. I mean, that's okay. Right. We don't want to end up like, in one of those middle-aged tech companies where, you have like half the people can't show up to work on time, right? You call a meeting, nobody can make it. I mean, there was a time, remember, like when we go to a meeting at like Microsoft and nobody there would be able to meet you, right? They middle-aged out. You want to talk about products and they're like, hey, let's talk about my wine plan and my health benefits and that food thing that we signed up for. It's like, dude, let's talk about products. Of course, they fixed that eventually, but there's also that time at HP. Like I tried to set up a meeting back in the day, like 10 years ago, like we're trying to meet. It took us 6 weeks to get people to come to the office because, I'm so busy. I have my doctor's appointment, or I had this other thing that I go see my school's play. It's like, hello, your company is sinking. We can't meet in 6 weeks. You got an emergency, a burning platform. You can't get your butt to work. Like, what's wrong with you people? Right. So there is some of that. Right. When you coddle a company too far, you could end up like that. Right. I mean, people are saying like people at Google are middle-aged out. There's the folks that get on the bus, they show up at 10, they get their massage, they have the meeting, have a good meal, get back on the bus, come home. Oh my God, it was a tough day. I mean, my friends at Google HR tell me this all the time. They're like, this is ridiculous. Right.
Well, if you're calling this middle-aged out, then what am I doing? I'm senioring out.
Dude, you've been working so hard for so long.
I'm senioring out, though.
You don't even senior out, man. You're still working, right? So the work ethic issue is part of it, right? I mean, the Valley has done so much to create amazing benefits for people, right? Sometimes they're a little bit beyond ridiculous. Like if you were coming from another normal company, not in tech, you'd be like, what the heck is this? So
pays a lot better too.
It does pay a lot better.
Yeah. All right, let me just start rifling a couple of things at you. So is Elon eventually going to buy Twitter?
I don't know. I mean, if this was a negotiating tactic to get it to like 34.20 instead of 54.20, it's working, right? I mean, at some point, worst case, he cops out on $1 billion and says, I'm out. But the damage has already been done, right? I mean, if you look at the ad sales for Facebook and if you look at ad sales in general at Snap, right, people see that the ad sales are pretty much down. Now, they're down for different reasons. Really, really different reasons. Thanks, Lisa. But they're down because, for example, like companies don't have things to sell, right? So you can't really have an ad if your supply chain is not there. You don't want to stoke up demand, right? They're down for other reasons. Maybe you pulled out of certain markets for war reasons and right lockdowns in China and other things. Okay, well, I get that. I can see why people are doing it, but the ad market is dead, and Twitter needs a real big overhaul. So they've kind of been complacent for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? So I'd see that. So short answer, I think he still wants to buy it. Long answer, I don't think he wants to pay $54.20 a share. And so he's got to figure out some other way to say, hey, look, you got lots of fake bots there, right? You said there was only 5%, but it's really 20. Okay, fine, right? We have a due diligence problem. But I actually do feel bad, right? I mean, the chairman of Twitter is what? The CEO of Salesforce at the moment?
Co-CEO, yeah.
Co-CEO, yeah.
Yeah, Brett Taylor.
That's gonna be a tough decision. I mean, to be a fly in that boardroom to say, "Hey, what's really going on back here?" So, but yeah.
All right, one more. Well, maybe not, but one more right now. So, are you going to WWDC next week?
I am.
Okay, cool. So, there's a rumor that they're going to announce a new search engine. Do you think that happens? And what significance would it be if they did that?
Well, the significance is huge because it would change the way you look at ads and the ad dynamic, right? And it would take the advantage of the Apple privacy capabilities to look at ads without cookies and kind of change the cookie world. Should that happen, I can neither confirm nor deny that at this moment, given things that will probably be discussed soon. So. But I think what people are looking at are things like, what are the watch OSs? If there's going to be new Macs that are going to be there,
right.
Will we see an M2, right? Maybe we'll have that headset that's out there, right? Will we actually see some other kind of things, right? So I think those are the big kind of rumors that are publicly out there. A new search engine would be pretty interesting. So,
all right, so let's take it to the other side of all this. Go back to the customer facing side here, because look, right now the it's interesting. I mean, I've been watching, obviously, on the engagement side, since I think a lot of things formulated as CX are not really CX at all. But a lot of them are just literally engagement, right? So, but I've been looking at that, and one of the things that I've noticed from the standpoint of the market itself, it was in 2019 when I first looked at it, it was a very amorphous market. All right, meaning I found 29 categories of technology that were claiming, and with players in each of them claiming to be customer engagement, and none of them competed with each other, right? So it was clearly like there was this gigantic hive mind thing going on, but there was no neural connections between any of it, particularly at the time. I'm looking at it 3 years later, it's pretty much in the same place. It's a little less than 29 now, but some of the market categories have kind of disappeared because, we're now looking 90% of the time into platforms and ecosystems, and some of them fail that test. Okay, so the question becomes, though, CRM, mature market, very, very, it exists from company to company. It's pretty much the same. There's, some value adds and add-ons that are a little different here and there. The way they look is a little different here and there, but ultimately you're still looking at, on the sales side, things like opportunity management, contact management, blah, 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 account management, and marketing side, you're looking at still the campaigns, which I think is kind of primitive, really, and not really where it needs to be. And then customer service, you're looking at multiple forms of that, so self-service, web self-service still is a big deal. Actual customer reps, contact centers still exist. All these things now on that side, we're starting to see digital contact centers, and now we're seeing on the very visionary edge, autonomous customer service is what companies are calling it. That said, it's still an amorphous market. So the question is, does this market evolve as a market? Does it not? Does it break up into dozens of categories that are still claiming to be customer engagement? How are people going to sort out that market? Not so much the definition of customer engagement. If I haven't helped them sort it out, then I'm failing at everything I'm doing, right? But pretty much. So, but beyond that, the market itself, is it going to actually become a market like CRM became a market? Or is it going to be amorphous and floating and no neural connections in this giant hive?
I feel like we have this conversation every decade, right? And in a different form. And I think part of it is just in the effort to reinvent something new, we just change the name of everything. And then everybody tries to jump in, which kind of sucks. So let's go back to late 90s and talk about front office. Right. There's the front office, the middle office, the back office. Front was anything that touched an individual or customer or stakeholder.
Right.
And all that was really about technologies that touched the front office.
Right.
Then we started talking about engagement. We need engagement. Of course we need engagement, right? But is that engagement driven by you or driven by the customer, right? The customer might not want to be engaged. You might want to engage with them, but that's a different problem, right? So we started talking about engagement and flows and how do we actually build that in there? And then we got into experiences, right? So no, it's not engagement. They're experiences. Okay, fine. So we saddled a bunch of engagements together, strung them together, called them experiences. They all sit in the front office. And then we got enamored with CDP. It's like, great. It's like the CDP is going to solve everything. Okay, great. I mean, wasn't that the database we used in the front office? But I mean, okay, fine. I mean, so let's take a step back behind all this and let's just go back to something basic that says, hey, look, what is your brand about? Okay, are you high touch, high value, high end? If you are, then let's think about which processes we want to automate, what processes we want to actually put a human in front of, what processes we want to augment the human with, or what processes we want to augment the machine with, right? And that's going to change your view, okay? If you're low end, high volume, high quality, you'll have a different strategy. If you're low end, high volume, low quality, you'll take another different tag. It's all automated, self-service yourself. Hey, go ask another friend, right? Ask someone in the community. We can't afford
basically
You know,
we're going to put out the product. Other than that, you can go shove it.
yeah, go shove it, or create your own user group. We'll create our own
Right.
user group in a DAO, and you'll be okay. You know, but that's what you have to do. We have to go back to the basics, figure out what your brand is, and then do you want your experiences to have a high touch, human touch, or you want it to be automated? Of course, you want to give people choices, but it's got to reflect what your brand value is. So if you're Nordstrom's, I would expect high touch. If you're Costco, I would expect like high quality, and you have a lot of self-service around it. Now, if
Right.
you're like Walmart, right, this is just high volume, low margins. You know, let's get self-service up, automation as much as possible. You want to reorder your toilet paper like every week, 4 rolls? Fine, we'll set it up for you. It'll just show up at your house. Don't even worry about it. You know, or whenever you pop into the store, we'll just include it in your order, right? Like that's the kind of stuff you want to create. And so I think once we do that and get out of the terminology of how this is going to work, then we can start saying, okay, we get the experience we want to deliver that matches our brand. And then we're going to come back and then design, right, the workflows, the processes that are going to be there. We're going to figure out then who touches on these things. And then we can go figure out which systems are supposed to take care of this. We never do that. We buy the system, then we try to make it work.
Yeah, a long time history with that one. Technology first and utility second, right? Which is
It's
not the
already
way
now.
it works.
Or someone had a really good keynote and it was a good vision. I mean, I don't know.
All right, I got a question, comment circling back around to the ambient experience stuff. Will data privacy and ethical use of customer data, is it an ambient experience yet? Will it be? Should it be?
So there are a couple things, right? You guys know I'm a free market capitalist. I really don't like regulations. But there's some things that have to be there, right? So one of them is actually data portability, and the other one is what Richie has been talking to about a ton of time, which is really having your privacy as a personal property or property rights around that, right? So the second one's really easy. Let me explain how that works. You have a title for your house, a title for your car, right? So that's a property. You've got intellectual property, so trademarks, all your kind of, IP, that kind of stuff that's protected. That's your intellectual property. And those have property laws, right? You need permission. If you're going to use someone else's stuff, you might have to exchange value, right? You got to do all that kind of stuff. So we got to have the same thing for your personal data, your genomics, your digital exhaust. Once we do that, then we've established this thing that, okay, that is your information. That is your rights. People have to seek your permission, and there needs to be value exchange. The second one, which is super hard to do, but really important, is data portability. Remember back in the day, you wanted to change carriers, but you couldn't change your numbers. And then one day someone said, no, you can't do that because that's anti-competitive. We got to do the same thing in data portability. Brett leaves Facebook, shows up in some new social media forum, right? Paul adds his Facebook profile to that new social media profile. And suddenly everything they've ever discussed should show up again, right? Your comments, your pictures, your medium, right? All your context, all your interaction history, right? So we need to get the tech to that point where those are required standards. And then, of course, you can be on any social media network you want. And that would equalize the playing field, right? And then the third thing is what Apple is doing really well, which is really creating those privacy capabilities, right? Like everything's encrypted. Like, you have these, peer-to-peer transactions that are super encrypted. All your communications are super encrypted as well. And, you have to seek permission from the individual before you can do anything. So if you put those three things together, we'll get back to our privacy.
That's why I was curious about. I guess we'll find out on Monday too, if Apple does go the search engine route. Right?
We'll find out very quickly.
I think Google pays Apple every year $15 billion to be the default search engine. That's a lot of money. Well, it was explained to me that it's a lot of money, but it's really not a lot of money. And if Apple is going to create their own search engine, I'm assuming they're going to want to be the default search engine at least on Safari, right? So they're willing to forego the $15 billion that Google gives them to be the default search engine. That means there's a lot of money in their data.
Well, this rumor pops up all the time, right? Are they going to do that? Maybe what will actually happen is the browser that's going to show up in the potential, thing that looks like a metaverse kind of viewer will be different than what you actually have on Google. It could be like that, right? So there are different ways to see how this rumor turns out. right? But this shows up all the time. Like every so often, Apple's going to do like, would you really do that? No, they're getting paid a lot of money not to.
All right. We would be remiss because, if we were kind of running short on time, but we would be remiss if we didn't ask you about the metaverse, right? Because everybody asks everybody about the metaverse. It's kind of what you do. Oh, whoa, that's like AR now. Whoa,
Or
right above your head.
or where does the metaverse and Web3, give us where all this fits together?
This is where I senior out.
Yeah, there's no, you don't have to senior out. I mean, I think the easiest way to describe this is that we often think about the metaverse as, the interfaces. Here's a headset. Here's some really cool things that we're going to use, right? And or the worlds, right? I'm in Decentraland, or I'm in Unity, or I'm in Roblox, and yeah, I get that. I mean, that's one piece of it, but another way to look at that is really to think about the metaverse is a lot bigger than that. Right. The metaverse looks like this, right? I mean, we've got, these worlds, right? So we got the interfaces today, we wear glasses. In the future, it might be gestures. In the future, it might plug something into our heads, right? There's the worlds. Every brand's going to have their world. Like everyone's brand's going to have a website, right? Just the same thing. So if you're a luxury brand, if you're a sports team, right? If you're a country, you'll have your own digital version of that. But then we've got DAOs, which are decentralized autonomous organizations, and they're governance models. They're like the rules of the membership club. How do you get to vote, right? What rights do you have? What does your membership privileges get? What do you have to do to get to the next level? And then we've got blockchain crypto tech that's providing anything like smart contracts, NFTs, right? The ability to actually give you, the blockchain tech that allows you to actually do, the proof of stake and all the important things like that. And then at the bottom is the Web 3.0 piece, which is really these new models, right? I mean, you don't get onto Facebook, you use Discord, right? You don't get onto Firefox or, Internet Explorer or Chrome, you end up on Brave, right? And so we're seeing these new types of tools pop up. But what is important is the fact that we've got a creator economy that's being matched with the marketplace, which is what we call data-driven digital network. And that matching is really what's creating this ecosystem, which we think is about 20.7 trillion. So,
wow. So but here's this sort of, look, we're all analysts. We speak at the level of the strategic. We also speak at the level of the global. We also speak at the level of the tactical and playbooks when we need to. But generally, we speak sort of, one of the things you did there, of course, was break it down into the kind of, I'm using this word very loosely here, so don't take it literally, platform layers, so to speak. Again, metaphorically, platform layers. So, but most companies just don't have the bandwidth or mentality to even think about it at that level. And they don't, and honestly, I mean, it's like when when people talk, like, when you talk about disruption, for example, you're very practical about what that actually is. You're not one of these people who say, oh, this is disruptive and this is disruptive and this is disruptive. And you also, I believe, if I remember correctly, you identify the fact that most companies are not looking to be disrupted, right? They're looking to make money and be a business, right? So, and not like fall apart every 5 years so they can reconstitute, right? So, when people the idea of just Web 3.0 and metaverses and DAOs and that level and new kind of new formats for governance and all of that, I'll put it this way: 1 out of every trillion people I've probably spoken with, and I have not spoken to a trillion yet, so that means none, have ever thought at that level, right? So I'm trying to
get down to 23 use cases. We got 23 use cases.
All right, see, that's where I'm going here.
8 billion people. So if you speak to a trillion people,
well, I actually include alien life in this.
Well, actually, the real thing behind Paul's talking about is really, if you can navigate resonance, you can actually enter more worlds. So there could be more than 8 billion people.
That's right. Well, look, there's been we all talk about the metaverse, but we can never forget the multiverse, which is where you can talk to a trillion people.
Indeed. But we broke out the metaverse economy into 43 use cases, 21 in the future of work, and and employee experience. And then we looked at commerce and customer experience, right? So advertising and search, I mean, you're in the metaverse world, like everything's digitized. I mean, literally you can place anything anywhere to do ads. And that's kind of interesting, right? So we can actually monetize search results, create new events for sponsorship, right? Play new display areas. Marketing's kind of interesting. You're going to do product launches in the metaverse, which will be interesting. Sales, right? Collaborative sales could be real. You could actually do real sales training experiences, avatars interviewing avatars, right? Your automated kind of search sequences, collaboration kind of cases, interactive demos, right? Commerce is where we see a lot of this, anything from showrooming to new worlds, right? To, bots answering bots, to digital goods and services there, to peer-to-peer selling, service and support's one of my favorite ones, right? You get in a data center, things so huge, right? You hop on an exoskeleton, haptic gloves, pretty soon, like you can repair anything anywhere. Like, if you've seen data centers, it's miles and miles and miles. The robot there is controlled by anybody at home in a haptic suit. Right. So you can actually, extend your workforce and get new skills out there. And of course, we're going to see a lot of different type of live events pop up. So.
Thank you. That's
All right.
How do people get access, or can they get access to your report or your use cases and so on the Constellation site, or what do they have to do?
Yeah, you need reader access for the Constellation
Okay.
site, but that report came out in January, and it's June now. So we'll probably break it up and start putting small blog posts against that.
Okay.
We've done a little bit more from the original report. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look, honestly, like half the work we're doing right now is around metaverse models, right? How do we get an NFT out there? And once you have the NFT, who cares? Like, what happens? Well, can we turn that into a loyalty program? Can we turn that loyalty program into community? Can that community then actually, be a collection of brands, right? Can we use those point systems to act like a stable coin, but not get into trouble with digital assets or securities, right? So that's one example of kind of conversation. Other folks are trying to figure out like, do we just dip our toe in there by being in one of the worlds, or create our own world and experiences for folks? Where are we in the technology? So people are just dipping their toes, trying to get comfortable where it is. But the one use case I love in the future of work and employee experience is no bias recruiting. Imagine if my avatar interviewed your avatar. I can't tell any accents. I can't tell skin color. I can't tell like the way you speak, the talk, like I can close my eyes and tell, hey, I'm in a Manila call center. Hey, this person's from Memphis versus Atlanta. Oh, wait, they've got a Texas accent. Like I do that all the time. Right. And I'm sure people do that unconsciously. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, that person looks like, yeah, they sound like some Brooklyn Jewish guy, right? Third generation. Right? I can figure that out. Right. So, or this is West Coast Asian, right? Like I can tell like West Coast Californian girl, right? From LA, right? I can just pick up the accent. Right. So that goes away. So imagine you're interviewing, there's none of those accents. There's that bias. You can't see skin color. You can't see anything. You can have a real conversation, see what happens. You get some interesting opportunities there.
That's really interesting.
That's interesting. And I remember 30 years ago, first job interview, I was doing like tech coding using a headhunter, got a call, did a phone interview, got asked to come in. Now I'm a black dude with the last name Leary, and I talk pretty proper. So I could tell as soon as I got into that office, they were not expecting me. So that to me that's a huge one. I would love to see something like that, take care of that kind of problem if we could do it.
So they were wondering how you had actually gotten rid of your Irish accent so quickly.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. Or how did I add this darker layer of skin? Because I don't know too many Irish dudes.
That's right.
A summer job in construction. I mean,
Yeah.
It's like David Lee. Like David Lee. Like, is he from the South? Is he some Korean dude?
Oh.
Is he like,
Yeah.
Best one, right? Like you create generic names like that. So we used to screw with the resumes all the time. We'd pick up all the things that people look like, and you create a resume, and then you insert random words everywhere since nobody reads those, and it'd pick them up, right? And you get these phone calls. Right?
Pretty cool.
So you have like GPA of 2.0, but then they'd have all the characteristics that someone wants, like 15 years in Python or something, like something ridiculous. When there's only 8, right?
8 possible years.
Great. Like, were you paying attention? No.
All right, one last question. Are the plans already worked for this year's CCE? Do we have any idea what to expect?
Constellation Connected Enterprise will be available October 24th to 27th at the Half Moon Bay. Yeah, it's
Oscillation
October.
Connect.
It is
Constellation-
October 24th to 27th. It's going to be a Half Moon
Really?
Bay at the Ritz, and yeah,
Oh,
we're
I
on.
definitely, that one I will be at. I can promise you that.
Day one, we have first day. People coming. We got golf, probably 8 to
course.
10 pair, foursomes, and then we kick off welcome reception, and then day one's all tech. We'll be talking about space tech, metaverse, quantum, AI, with some there's a special surprise coming. And then that evening,
Elon's going to be there.
Yeah, and Ray has actually invented a quantum computer that will literally take care of pretty much the entire universe's problems.
you will see the multiverse in action when all 5 clones are there.
Oh, whoa! Finally, well, you keep
Well, they
the
have-
6th one in the closet.
Each have
though,
their
'cause that was
stone.
your assassin clone.
Each of them will have the Millennium Stones in there, and then you'll.
That's
Ah,
right.
Flickering is the resonance, right? And so when you see it flicker, you'll see exactly how these clones interact. So just be careful. I think
That's
which one's
right.
the assassin, Paul?
The
I don't think you've
6th
ever seen him.
clone. No, he's never been out of the closet ever.
So there's only 5 I mentioned, right? So
Right,
didn't say
I
6.
did notice.
I didn't say 6. I didn't say 6.
There's the real, the 5, and then the one in the closet, which is the assassin clone who never leaves that closet.
The assassin clone takes out other clones when they're not behaving properly. So
Yes, well, that's been the idea.
I
Knock out the
did not
bot.
to take out the human, but that
No,
could
no,
happen
no.
too.
It's a bot killer. Is what it is.
It's a bot killer. You got to
It's a bot killer. That
Taking
was
a
always
turn
his purpose.
for the dark side here, fellas.
All right, day 2 is about industries, processes. We have our Supernova Awards banquet as well, which is kind of a gala dinner, and then every evening we hang out in the fire pits. And then day 3 is a half-day leadership summit. So we've got some interesting speakers lined up. Nothing's officially announced, but we also have our BT 150 that's coming together. That will be announced June 21st. You'll see that group. And then what will be different about this year is we'll probably have a number of folks from our ESG 50 there. These are folks that are doing sustainability. We chose a different angle in sustainability than most people. We wanted to balance shareholder interest with stakeholder interests.
Right.
So to be pragmatic, because if you don't do that, your company goes under. So we believe in the no margin, no mission rule. And so that finding that balance. But Doug's leading the research on that, and we're putting people together there.
Let's say
What
Pete
year
should
will
be
this
happy to
be?
hear what you're doing.
12. So
Wow.
11 in person, but 12th annual. So
Well, I know this. The only conference I attended throughout the last 2 years during COVID was CCE last year, and I was very, very happy I did. And I will. The other thing I recommend to anyone who listens to this or a snippet later is that you attend. You sign up, you do what you got to do, and attend, because it is absolutely. It's a visionary conference. If you want to meet a lot of the players in the industry, they will be there. And it's on a beautiful location, and it's genuinely a lot of fun to attend. So you'll learn a lot. You'll meet the people you need to meet. You'll be at a beautiful place and enjoy yourselves. So it is my favorite conference. So
I appreciate that.
That says a lot.
Yeah, we totally appreciate that.
Cool.
all right.
All right. Well, now that we've got all that,
That was awesome, by the way.
great. Thanks for taking time, especially coming on the heels of AXS. So we definitely appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Thanks for having me on. I don't think I've been on in a while, so this is awesome.
Yeah. Last time you were on was the last crossover we did.
Yeah, we got to do it. Get Vala and you back and do another crossover at some point.
Let's
about
definitely do
you.
it. What's the next big CX event you guys are going to? I'm curious. Are you going to Verint?
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see you at Verint.
Well, we'll see you there. Yeah, we'll see
Yeah.
you there.
Yeah.
You're speaking. We're doing 3 episodes of the Playaz.
Okay, cool. I'm trying to figure out time for a crossover, but hey, thank you so much for having me on the show.
All right, my
All right,
friend. Here's
man.
a big
Take
virtual
care.
hug, and I'll see you in person in
Wakanda
less
forever.
than-
That's
less
what it
than
always
2
looks
weeks.
like to me.
That's
man.
right. Part of the multiverse. All right.
All right.
All right.
Broadcasting on all wavelengths. See you soon.
All right. So on behalf of Ray Wang, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and you know how this has to end with many.
I love that.
See ya.
Oh.